Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Lunar Research Station Alpha, her weathered face illuminated by Earth's soft blue glow. 20 years of astronomical research had prepared her for many things, but not for this. The quantum detection array had picked up something that shouldn't exist, artificial signals buried so deeply in background radiation that they had gone unnoticed for decades. "Dr. Patel, run the analysis again," she commanded, her voice steady despite the implications weighing heavily on her mind. The holographic display flickered as columns of data streamed past, confirming what they already knew. They weren't alone, and worse, they were being watched. The Meridian observation posts, as they would later be known, had been cleverly disguised as natural stellar phenomena. It took humanity's breakthrough in quantum field detection to finally notice the microscopic fluctuations in spacetime that betrayed their presence. The aliens had been studying Earth for at least 50 years, cataloging every broadcast, every satellite launch, every nuclear test. "Their technological superiority is significant," Dr. Patel said, adjusting his glasses as he scrolled through the data. "The energy signatures we're detecting suggest they're at least 3 centuries ahead of us in most fields. But there's something odd about their observation patterns." Sarah leaned closer to the display, her eyes narrowing. "Show me." The hologram shifted to display a timeline of the alien observations. They were methodical, precise, too precise. The Meridians, as the Security Council would later designate them, were following a strict protocol in their study of Earth. They had categorized humanity as a pre-FTL civilization and were monitoring their development according to predetermined benchmarks. "They're looking for specific technological markers," Sarah realized, her mind racing with possibilities. "They expect our development to follow a particular pattern." Dr. Patel nodded, bringing up another dataset. "And they're only monitoring what they expect to see. Conventional radio frequencies, standard particle physics experiments, traditional space exploration efforts. They're not even looking for quantum field manipulations." A plan began to form in Sarah's mind. Humanity had stumbled upon quantum field manipulation through an unlikely series of accidents and theoretical breakthroughs. It wasn't the expected path for a developing civilization, and therein lay their advantage. Within hours, the Lunar Research Station's findings were shared with a select group of global leaders and scientists. The decision was unanimous: humanity would maintain the illusion of being a relatively primitive civilization while secretly preparing for the possibility of contact, or conflict. "We need to keep this quiet," the Chinese representative insisted during the emergency conference. "Any change in our visible technological development could alert them." Sarah agreed. "We continue with our planned space missions, our regular broadcasts, our normal scientific progress. But underneath." She paused, looking at each face in the holographic conference. "We build something they're not looking for." Project Quantum Shadow was born that day. While the world continued its apparent normal progression, hidden laboratories deep beneath the Earth's surface worked on expanding humanity's mastery of quantum fields. They learned to manipulate spacetime on microscopic levels, developed communication systems that were invisible to conventional detection, and created sensors that could pierce through the Meridian's sophisticated cloaking technology. The observations continued. The Meridians watched as humanity launched chemical rockets, deployed simple satellites, and conducted basic particle physics experiments. They noted down humanity's first tentative steps toward Mars, their struggling attempts at fusion power, their gradually improving computer technology. All proceeding exactly as expected for a young civilization. They never noticed the quantum communications network spreading throughout the solar system. They didn't detect the microscopic space-time distortions that humans were using to transmit information instantly across vast distances. They didn't realize that every piece of primitive technology humanity launched contained sophisticated quantum sensors, building an invisible web of surveillance around their observers. "How long do you think we have?" Dr. Patel asked Sarah one evening, 6 months into Project Quantum Shadow. They stood in the quantum lab deep beneath the Atacama Desert, watching as engineers tested a new form of quantum propulsion that violated half a dozen laws of physics as the Meridians understood them. Sarah watched the swirling patterns of distorted spacetime in the test chamber. According to their observation patterns, they expect us to achieve reliable fusion power within the next decade. That's probably when they'll make contact. And we'll be ready, Dr. Patel said, but it wasn't quite a question. Sarah's lips curved into a slight smile. More than ready. They think they're watching a primitive species taking its first steps into space. Instead, they're watching a performance, a carefully choreographed dance. And when the music stops. She left the sentence unfinished, but they both knew what it meant. Humanity would reveal itself not as the primitive species the Meridians expected, but as something entirely different, a civilization that had found its own unique path to the stars. As Sarah left the underground facility that night, she looked up at the stars, knowing that somewhere up there, the Meridians continued their methodical observation of Earth, completely unaware that their subjects had long since turned the tables. The real question wasn't whether humanity would be ready for first contact, but whether the Meridians would be ready for humanity. General Marcus Rivera walked through the holographic display of Earth's quantum defense grid, each node pulsing with data streams invisible to conventional detection. 8 years had passed since humanity's discovery of their alien observers, and the web they had woven was a masterpiece of misdirection. Status report on Operation Looking Glass, he commanded, his voice echoing through the underground command center beneath the Andes Mountains. The facility itself was a testament to human ingenuity, protected by quantum fields that made it appear as nothing more than solid rock to any scanning technology the Meridians possessed. Lieutenant Emma Zhang stepped forward, her quantum tablet projecting new data streams into the holographic display. The Meridians have taken the bait, sir. Their observation posts have shifted focus to monitor our breakthrough in fusion containment. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The breakthrough was carefully engineered, a series of public experiments showing humanity struggling with problems they had secretly solved years ago. Each failure and partial success was choreographed to paint a picture of a civilization developing exactly as the Meridians expected. And our real progress? Emma's fingers danced across her tablet, transforming the holographic display. The public fusion research facilities disappeared, replaced by a network of quantum production centers hidden in pocket dimensions throughout the solar system. Production of quantum-shifted materials is exceeding projections. We're manufacturing faster than they can track our resource consumption. The quantum shifting technology had been humanity's greatest triumph, the ability to temporarily shift matter slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, making it invisible to conventional detection. It allowed them to mine asteroids, build spacecraft, and develop technologies right under the Meridians' watchful eyes. "Show me the Neptune shipyards," Marcus ordered. The hologram shifted again, revealing vast construction facilities hidden in quantum pockets around Neptune's orbit. Massive ships took shape in these invisible docks, their designs unlike anything the Meridians might expect. They weren't the clumsy fusion-powered vessels humanity publicly struggled with, but sleek craft capable of manipulating the quantum fabric of space itself. The Meridian observation post near Jupiter has increased its scanning intensity, Emma reported. They're particularly interested in our latest failed attempt at developing antimatter containment. Marcus nodded, walking through the holographic representation of their latest public failure. The explosion had been spectacular, and completely staged. Real antimatter production had been mastered 3 years ago in facilities phase-shifted just enough to avoid detection. "What's the status of Project Echo?" he asked, referring to their most ambitious undertaking yet. Emma brought up a new display, this one showing a complex network of quantum entanglement nodes spreading out from Earth. "We've successfully mapped 60% of their communication network. Every time they observe our primitive attempts at quantum computing, we're actually using those experiments to analyze their own quantum communication signatures." The irony wasn't lost on Marcus. The Meridians were so focused on monitoring humanity's apparent struggles with basic quantum mechanics that they failed to notice humans had already surpassed their understanding of quantum fields. While they meticulously documented Earth's clumsy attempts to achieve quantum entanglement, humanity was using far more advanced techniques to intercept and decode their own transmissions. "Sir," Emma's voice carried a note of excitement, "we've detected a significant increase in communication between their observation posts. Analysis suggests they're preparing for some form of intervention." Marcus studied the data streams, noting the patterns. "They think we're approaching a critical development threshold. How long until the quantum fleet is ready?" 8 months at current production rates. "We can accelerate if needed, but it might make our resource consumption harder to conceal." Marcus considered the options. The Meridians were acting exactly as predicted, preparing to make contact with what they thought was an emerging civilization on the verge of true space flight. They had no idea they were walking into a carefully laid trap years in the making. "Maintain current production rates," he decided. "Let them think they're choosing the moment of contact. Have our quantum sensors picked up any signs they've detected our true capabilities?" Emma shook her head. "None, sir. Their observation protocols remain unchanged. They're still using the same detection methods they've employed for the past 50 years. It was their greatest advantage, the Meridians' own certainty. They were so convinced of their technological superiority, so sure of their understanding of how civilizations should develop, that they never thought to look for development along different paths." A alert pulsed on Emma's tablet. "Sir, we're detecting a new energy signature from the Mars observation post. They're preparing to launch some kind of long-range probe toward Earth." Marcus watched the data stream, his expression thoughtful. "Right on schedule. They want a closer look at our primitive civilization before making their move." He turned to face the command center staff. "Maintain all deception protocols. Let them launch their probe. Let them gather their data. Let them think they know exactly what they're dealing with." As he studied the holographic display of Earth's invisible defenses, Marcus reflected on how far humanity had come. In just 8 years, they had transformed from a civilization genuinely struggling with basic space flight to one that had mastered aspects of quantum physics the Meridians hadn't even theorized. And they had done it all while maintaining a convincing facade of technological inferiority. The real question wasn't whether humanity could maintain the deception until their fleet was ready. The question was how the Meridians would react, and they realized just how completely they had been outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive. Dr. Maya Patel's fingers flew across the quantum interface as she tracked the Meridian probe's descent through Earth's atmosphere. From their underground facility in the Atacama, she could see every scan, every measurement, every analysis the alien device was performing. The probe thought it was gathering valuable intelligence about a primitive civilization. In reality, it was delivering exactly the data humans wanted it to receive. "The quantum mirage is holding perfectly," she reported to Admiral Chen, who stood behind her watching the multilayered holographic displays. "They're seeing exactly what we want them to see." The quantum mirage was humanity's masterpiece of deception, a vast network of quantum fields that projected a carefully constructed false reality. To the Meridian probe sensors, Earth appeared to be exactly what they expected, a planet struggling with pollution, divided by political tensions, and barely managing to maintain a crude space program. "Their probe is particularly interested in our major cities," Maya noted, watching the data streams. "Especially our power generation facilities." Sarah Chen smiled slightly. "Of course they are. They're looking for signs that we're approaching their anticipated technological benchmarks. Show me what they're seeing when they scan Beijing." The holographic display shifted, showing 2 versions of the Chinese capital. One was the reality, a city powered by zero-point energy tapped from quantum fields, with hidden technology far beyond anything the Meridians might expect. The other was what the probe was detecting, a metropolis still heavily dependent on fossil fuels, with a few experimental fusion plants struggling to maintain stability. The probe is now analyzing our orbital installations, Maya reported. It's paying particular attention to the International Space Station. The ISS had become humanity's greatest prop in their planetary-scale deception. While it appeared to be a primitive orbital habitat barely managing to maintain its orbit, it was actually a sophisticated quantum sensor array, analyzing every bit of data the Meridian probe was transmitting back to its masters. They're starting their deep scan of our military installations, Maya continued. Activating countermeasures now. Across the globe, military bases shifted slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, replaced by quantum projections showing exactly what the Meridians would expect to find: conventional weapons, basic missile systems, and early attempts at energy weapons that appeared to be failing more often than succeeding. The real military installations, hidden in quantum pockets, contained weapons that would have shocked the Meridians. Quantum phase rifles that could shift matter out of existence, spacetime distortion fields that could tear ships apart at a subatomic level, and defense systems that operated on principles the aliens hadn't even discovered yet. Dr. Patel, Sarah's voice carried a note of curiosity, what's the status of Project Oracle? Maya brought up a new set of displays, showing complex patterns of quantum entanglement. We're reading their probe's communications in real time. More importantly, we're getting deep scans of their quantum communication protocols. Every transmission the probe sends back is giving us more insight into their entire command and control structure. It was the hidden purpose behind allowing the probe to enter Earth's atmosphere. While it thought it was secretly gathering intelligence about Earth, humans were using it to map out the Meridian's entire communication network. Each quantum pulse it sent back to its masters was analyzed, decoded, and added to humanity's growing understanding of Meridian technology. They're beginning their analysis of our quantum physics research, Maya reported, suppressing a smile. This was always her favorite part. The probe scanned what appeared to be Earth's most advanced quantum research facility. It recorded human scientists celebrating their first successful quantum entanglement of two particles, an achievement the Meridians had mastered centuries ago. The aliens had no way of knowing that the celebration was staged, the facility was a facade, and humanity had long since moved far beyond such basic quantum mechanics. Their probe is sending a priority signal, Maya suddenly announced. They've made their final assessment. Sarah leaned forward, watching the decoded transmission stream across the displays. They've reached a decision about us, haven't they? Maya nodded, reading the alien data. They've classified Earth as a Level 3 pre-contact civilization, exactly where we wanted them to place us. According to their protocols, they're required to initiate first contact within the next solar rotation. Perfect timing, Sarah said softly. The quantum fleet will be ready in just under 2 months. How long until the probe leaves Earth's atmosphere? About 6 hours. They want to gather final baseline readings of our technological level before departure. Sarah walked through the holographic display of Earth's hidden defenses, studying the layers of deception they had built. Have they detected any of our quantum technology? Any sign they suspect what we're really capable of? Maya shook her head. None. Their probe is still operating on their basic assumptions about how civilizations develop. They're so convinced of their model that they're not even looking for alternatives. That's always been their weakness, Sarah mused. They've seen so many civilizations develop along the same technological path that they can't conceive of a species finding a different way forward. As they watched the probe continue its methodical survey of what it thought was a primitive Earth, both women knew they were witnessing the beginning of the end game. The Meridians would soon make their grand entrance, expecting to find a young civilization in need of guidance. Instead, they would discover that humanity had been quietly preparing for this moment for nearly a decade. Send word to General Rivera, Sarah ordered. Tell him to begin final preparations for the quantum fleet. When the Meridians come to welcome us to the galactic community, we'll be ready to show them just how big their blind spot really was. The Meridian diplomatic fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system exactly as humanity had predicted. 7 massive ships, their crystalline hulls gleaming with what they assumed would be overwhelming technological superiority. To conventional sensors, they were an awe-inspiring sight. To humanity's quantum detection grid, they were an open book. Commander Yuki Tanaka sat in the hidden command center beneath Mount Fuji, watching the Meridian fleet's every move through quantum sensors that the aliens didn't even know existed. "They're deploying their communication buoys," she reported to the Unified Earth Defense Council. Just as the probe's data suggested they would. The holographic conference showed leaders from every major nation, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of quantum displays. They had waited years for this moment, carefully orchestrating humanity's apparent development to bring about this exact scenario. "They're broadcasting on standard radio frequencies," Yuki announced, a slight smile playing at her lips. "A first contact package, designed for a civilization they believe has just mastered fusion power." General Rivera's hologram nodded. "Let them follow their protocols. Dr. Zhang, are we reading their secure quantum channels?" Emma Zhang's image appeared in the conference, her quantum tablet displaying streams of decoded meridian communications. "Every word, sir. Their encryption is impressive, for a civilization that hasn't discovered quantum shifting." The Meridian's secure channels painted a clear picture of their intentions. They saw Earth as another primitive civilization to be guided, or controlled, along their approved developmental path. Their messages spoke of trade agreements that would make humanity dependent on Meridian technology, of cultural exchange programs designed to reshape human society, and of defensive pacts that would effectively turn Earth into a client state. "They're preparing to make their first official broadcast to Earth," Yuki reported. "All channels indicate they expect us to be overwhelmed by their technological display. Let's give them exactly what they expect," Admiral Chen's hologram commanded. "Activate Protocol Omega." Across Earth, carefully prepared responses began. Military installations went into staged high alert. Stock markets reacted with programmed panic. News networks broadcast carefully crafted stories of chaos and awe at the arrival of advanced alien visitors. The Meridians watched it all, their quantum channels buzzing with satisfaction at humanity's predictable reaction. They never noticed that each transmission they sent was being intercepted, analyzed, and added to humanity's growing database of Meridian tactical and technological information. "Their flagship is moving into position for the main display," Yuki announced. "They're preparing to demonstrate their technological superiority." The massive Meridian vessel positioned itself above Earth's northern hemisphere, its crystalline structure catching the sun's light in what was meant to be an impressive display of power and advancement. The ship's quantum core pulsed as it prepared to project a massive holographic message visible to half the planet. "Now," Admiral Chen commanded. In that instant, humanity's quantum web activated. Invisible fields of distorted spacetime surrounded each Meridian vessel, not to attack, but to contain and analyze. Every system, every technology, every quantum signature was scanned and decoded by sensors operating on principles the Meridians hadn't yet discovered. "Full spectrum analysis complete," Emma reported, her voice tight with excitement. "We now have detailed scans of their entire fleet. Their technological base is exactly as we predicted, advanced, but entirely dependent on conventional quantum mechanics." The Meridian ships continued their choreographed arrival, unaware that humans had just completed a deeper analysis of their technology than they had managed of Earth in 50 years of observation. Their secure channels continued to discuss how best to guide this primitive civilization, never realizing that every word was being monitored and recorded. "Their cultural integration protocols are particularly interesting," Dr. Patel's hologram noted, reviewing the decoded data. "They genuinely believe they're doing us a favor by offering to reshape our society to match their standards." Commander Tanaka watched as the Meridian flagship began its grand holographic display. Above Earth's cities, massive images appeared showing the glory and advancement of Meridian civilization. It was meant to inspire awe and submission. Instead, it gave humanity's quantum sensors unprecedented access to their holographic technology. Final analysis confirms our initial assessments, Emma reported. They have no defenses against quantum shifting or phase displacement. Their entire technological framework is built on the assumption that quantum mechanics works the way they think it does. General Rivera's hologram smiled grimly. Then we proceed as planned. Begin Phase 2 of Protocol Omega. Across the solar system, hidden quantum facilities began to power up. The fleet that humanity had built in secret prepared to reveal itself. But not yet. For now, they would continue the charade, playing the part of an awestruck primitive civilization encountering advanced aliens for the first time. The Meridians are sending their first official diplomatic message, Yuki announced. They're offering to guide humanity into a new age of enlightenment. Admiral Chen's voice carried a note of irony as she gave her final order, send our prepared response. Let them think they're the teachers for just a little while longer. Soon enough, they'll learn what it means to underestimate humanity. The Meridian High Commander stood in his flagship's crystal bridge, watching with satisfaction as the primitive humans responded exactly as expected to their arrival. Their panic, their awe, their scrambling military responses, all of it confirmed what 50 years of observation had led them to believe. These humans were just another young species to be guided along the proper path of development. His satisfaction lasted exactly 3 more minutes. The first sign that something was wrong came when their quantum core experienced a microscopic fluctuation, so small that only the most sensitive instruments detected it. The second sign came moments later when their supposedly unbreakable quantum encryption suddenly displayed a message in perfect Meridian script. Thank you for coming. We've been expecting you. Before the High Commander could process this impossibility, space itself seemed to shift around his fleet. The quantum sensors that had shown empty space now revealed an entire human battle fleet that had somehow remained completely invisible to their most advanced detection systems. Admiral Sarah Chen's image appeared on the Meridian Command display, bypassing every security protocol as if they didn't exist. High Commander Vextal, welcome to Earth. We apologize for the deception, but we needed to understand your capabilities before proceeding with genuine first contact. The High Commander's crystalline features shifted in what humans had learned was an expression of shock. Impossible. Our observations showed exactly what we wanted them to show, Sarah interrupted smoothly. While your observation posts monitored what appeared to be a primitive civilization struggling with basic fusion power, we were actually mapping your entire communication network, analyzing your technology, and preparing for this moment. As if to demonstrate her point, quantum fields rippled across Earth's surface. The holographic facade fell away, revealing the true extent of human advancement. Zero-point energy plants powered cities that had appeared to run on fossil fuels. Quantum transportation networks replaced what had seemed to be primitive ground vehicles. Advanced research facilities emerged from pocket dimensions where they had remained hidden from Meridian observation. How? The High Commander's voice carried genuine confusion. Our models for civilizational development were based on the assumption that all species would follow the same technological path you did. General Rivera's image appeared alongside Sarah's. You never considered that a species might discover quantum mechanics differently, might take a different path to the stars. The Meridian fleet sensors were now registering the true extent of human quantum technology. Ships that could shift between dimensions at will. Weapons that could manipulate the fabric of spacetime itself. Defense systems that operated on principles the Meridians had never even theorized. Your 50 years of observation taught you nothing about who we really are, Sarah continued. You saw what you expected to see, a primitive species following the standard development path. You never looked for alternatives because you were so certain of your own superiority. The High Commander's crystalline form vibrated with what might have been anger or fear. If you had these capabilities, why this deception? Why not simply announce yourselves? Maya Patel's image joined the others on the display. Because we needed to understand not just your technology, but your intentions. Your protocols for dealing with primitive species told us everything we needed to know about how the Meridian Collective views other civilizations. The human ships had now completely surrounded the Meridian fleet, though they hadn't made any aggressive moves. They didn't need to. The demonstration of their ability to remain undetected, to penetrate Meridian security at will, and to operate technology the Meridians hadn't thought possible was message enough. So now what? The High Commander asked, his voice carrying resignation. Conquest? Sarah's laugh surprised him. No, High Commander. Now we talk. As equals. Humanity has no interest in conquest or dominion. What we want is genuine exchange between civilizations that can learn from each other. Learn from each other? The concept seemed to shock him more than the military display. But we are clearly operating on a set of assumptions that we've just proved wrong, General Rivera interrupted. You have technologies we could learn from, yes. But we have clearly discovered principles of quantum physics that you haven't yet grasped. Imagine what both our civilizations could achieve if we approached each other not as teacher and student, but as partners. The quantum displays showed the High Commander's crystalline form shifting through patterns that the humans had learned indicated deep thought. Finally, he spoke, in 50,000 years of contact with other species, we have never, this is not how first contact is supposed to proceed. Perhaps, Sarah smiled, it's time for something new. We've studied your history, High Commander. The Meridian Collective achieved greatness by mastering the quantum realm. But somewhere along the way, you stopped looking for new possibilities. You became so certain of your path that you couldn't see alternatives. Around Earth, more quantum fields shifted, revealing the full extent of human civilization. Not just military might, but scientific achievements, artistic creations, and technological innovations that had remained hidden for years. Your arrival today marks a new chapter not just for humanity, but for the Meridian Collective, Sarah continued. A chance to remember what it was like to discover that the universe is bigger and more wonderful than you imagined. A chance to learn instead of just teach. The High Commander was silent for a long moment, his crystalline form processing this complete upheaval of everything the collective had believed about civilizational development. Finally, he spoke, perhaps you are right. But the collective will need proof of everything you claim. Of course, Sarah nodded. We've prepared extensive documentation of our technological achievements, ready to share as soon as you acknowledge humanity as equals and agree to mutual exchange protocols. As the human and Meridian leaders began their first true diplomatic exchange, Maya Patel smiled at her quantum displays. The Meridians were already beginning to grasp the implications of what humanity had achieved, not just technologically, but strategically. They had completely outmaneuvered a civilization thousands of years their senior, not through force or deception, but by understanding their assumptions and using them as a shield. The age of humanity hiding their true capabilities was over. The age of genuine galactic cooperation was about to begin. And if the Meridians learned a valuable lesson about underestimating primitive species along the way, well, that was just an added bonus.